Welcome to a Fortnight on the Isle. I'm your host, King Crusoe. You can call me KC, and today, doing just another bi-weekly update here for the channels, and this time all three channels are linked for this video as opposed to just the first two, because we will be talking about something that is coming on the third channel tomorrow that I'm really looking forward to. All that stuff is for a little bit later in the video. Let's just get on with this fortnight's update, beginning with the simple acknowledgement that I very nearly forgot once again about this update, so thankfully it is going to be going up on time. But having streaming plans nearly all weekend certainly ain't helping my ability to remember these very well, all things considered. And speaking of streaming plans, at the time of this video's release on the second channel, I am streaming a playthrough of the new video game Reanimal, so if you want to check that out on the second channel, I will be glad to see you there. But it's been a hell of a fortnight for me personally, so let's get on with it, starting off with the bi-weekly reading just as I normally begin with. The main thing that I did get done this fortnight was that I read basically the entirety of The Gathering Storm. Now, I do believe in the last one of these updates I mentioned that I had started this book, that I had read through the prologue and the first couple of chapters, basically. I hadn't read very far into it, but over the last 2 weeks I have finished the entire book. I was thinking I would be taking this a little bit slower, taking the whole month, reading something in between, you know, like each quarter or something like that, as I did the Wheel of Time Diaries on Thursdays. That didn't happen. I just plowed through this entire book with very little space in the mix there, to be honest. It was a great time. I actually really loved this book. My first 5-star book of the Wheel of Time since the 5th book, you know, book that I read nearly 2 years ago at this point. And I just love this thing. It definitely reminded me of what I loved about Wheel of Time in the first place. I had a wonderful time with it. I thought that Sanderson definitely executed on the characters and the world and all of that stuff absolutely brilliantly. I will be talking a little bit more about that book, obviously, in the next couple of diaries that come out for it, but I will be reviewing that probably in early March, so look forward to that. Some things that I'm looking forward to reading this fortnight, however, one of which I did technically start, Penance of Blood, as part of Oathbreaker by A.J. Drummond. We're doing this as a read-along in the Red Company, and I haven't read very far. At the time of recording, I've only read the first 6 chapters. I was going to try to read little bits and pieces of this every day once I started it, but then I had several days where I was just plowing through The Gathering Storm and didn't really make time for this, but I do plan to read this fortnight, and more notably, I plan to basically finish it this week. It's not very long. It does feel a little bit like a slower read in terms of like how I want to personally pace it, rather than plowing through in just a few days. I do think I want this to take the week, basically, but as far as the character / narrator's voice of that, the more subtle world building that is going on in there, in the sense of like you're not getting info dumped with a bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff is kind of left either up to interpretation to a degree, or is not so defined so early on, and you're more interested on figuring out a little bit more of what's actually happening as the story goes on, and I'm certainly looking forward to it for that reason. The other thing that I plan to get through this fortnight, because I don't think that Penance of Blood is going to take me very long to get through, might be that I do this concurrently, might be that I do it right afterwards. I'm not entirely sure. It depends on my pacing, how I read Penance of Blood, but I am going to go ahead and read Perfume. Sorry about that little bit of buzzing there. That's the slight gray on the screen being picked out by the green screen in there. You see just the similarity of that particular shade of gray in the lighting with the green screen. It kind of starts to disappear. But yeah, that's a book that is a personal favorite of one of my friends, or at the very least is very highly enjoyed by several of my friends. A few weeks ago, I had gone through and found that the audiobook was just a few bucks, and the start of it, the sample of it sounded good, and I was like, sure, why not? I decided, just kind of out of mood, I do want to read that soon, and I think that I'm going to go ahead and do that this fortnight. It should be an interesting time. The only other thing to note, a little bit more on a technically short story side of things, is that over the next couple weeks this fortnight, I do plan to kind of intermix a little bit of Percy Jackson's Greek Gods. Once again, kind of a situation of the slight green shades being caught by the green screen and filtering out just a tiny bit. But this isn't super long, should go pretty quick, just Percy Jackson's voice as a narration kind of recounting certain aspects of Greek mythology. Just seems like a little bit of simple fun and easy reading, and that should be enjoyable enough for me. But now we're going to move on to the bi-weekly gaming, because I don't have any more reading to talk about, and for once I actually have quite a bit to talk about on the gaming, so I'll make sure that I'm a little bit more over here so I can show everything off over there properly. The main thing that I did get through this fortnight was I played Alan Wake Remastered, and I actually managed to get through the entire game in just a few days. That was basically my plan, but I did get through it. So all 6 episodes of the main game plus the 2 DLC episodes. I managed to record my Let's Play for all of that. That's been coming out on Fridays on the second channel and will continue to do so until it is done. The other things that I played over this fortnight were a little bit more personal things. One of these games was for a video specifically, but the others were a little bit personal. You know what? The first one is just Astrobot. I've technically played this quite a while ago, actually. It's been a minute, but in the middle of last year, the very last update, the very last, extra bonus level pack came out for the game, and I hadn't gotten around to it yet. I'd played everything else the game had to offer until the very last update, so this fortnight I finally went back, finished that last update, got the last boss, got the last trophies, and completed the game. So I'm now done with Astrobot fully, which is great. I'm glad to have that finally off my list because I had that installed on my PS5 for months, meaning to get back around just to play the last update, and it never happened until now. So that is nice. The other thing is I did do one last final playthrough of Little Nightmares 3, and I did that co-op with a buddy of mine, Allostair. He decided to join me so that I could get the platinum trophy for it, so that I could get the multiplayer trophy of, finishing the game in the co-op mode. And that was a good bit of fun. He got to experience that for the first time, but he got to go through all of that. It was a good time. He's probably going to be the person that I play the DLC chapters with whenever those come out this year. So be on the lookout for probable live streams of the DLC chapters when they come out. And those will be short. Maybe I'll record them instead. I'm not 100% sure, but we do plan to do that. I had fun with him playing that. Related to Little Nightmares, the reason why I had the little U2's figurine in the thumbnail was because the other thing that I did Little Nightmares related this fortnight was I played Little Nightmares 1 a couple of times. Well, depending on how you count it. I played several hours of this. I want to say it was probably around 10 or so hours, give or take, getting the no-death speedrun trophy for the game, Hard to the Core, which requires you to beat the game in under an hour without dying, or similarly having to reset in that way. And I actually made a video about that last week, and I did that twice. I did it on both the enhanced version on my PS5 and on the standard edition on my PS4, because I forgot to save the footage from the PS5 run and decided to get the footage on a PS4, and now I have the trophy twice. So that was a lot of fun. That was the other gaming that I did. And then the other thing was a little bit more mindless while, just watching basketball games on the second monitor over here. Over the past week, basically, I went ahead and I finished, I want to say it was like around 20 or so hours, maybe not quite that much, maybe more like 15, I forget off the top of my head, but it was somewhere between 15 and 20 hours of Power Wash Simulator, and I finished all of the remaining DLC. That's also something that I've been meaning to do for the past year, but I finally managed to actually do that. So I've totaled somewhere between 155 and 160 hours in the game, depending on how much idle time I spent with the game open but not actually playing. And that was all spread out over the course of 4 years, basically. I've been playing Power Wash Simulator since it was in early access, for example. So, yeah, I finally finished all of that and will actually be producing a video about it. But we shall talk about that later. On the docket for my gaming, because we're not quite done here, I did start playing Ghost of Yote, actually. I started streaming that over on the second channel, and I will be continuing to stream that on weekends. like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, later today, at the time of this video's release, in just a few hours, I will be streaming Reanimal, the new game by the studio that made Little Nightmares 1 and 2. I'm very excited to play that one. Hopefully I should be able to get through the entire game today. Not 100% sure, but that is the hope, that is the plan. And then a couple other games that I do want to play this fortnight, one of them being the shadow dropped, like 2D God of War prequel game that came out. This recent state of play was actually really good, and you know, we'll be talking about that. But I do actually just want to go ahead and play that game over the next couple weeks, just as something to play for myself, to kind of mix in alongside some of the other personal games that I had already planned to play this month. And then the other thing is Grime 2. Grime is one of my favorite games that I've played. Grime 2 officially has a demo out, but apparently, and I learned this on their Discord server, they're actually planning to update that demo with the next Steam Next Fest that is happening here this fortnight. It should be like, you know, the very end of February into early March. I believe they're going to be updating the demo, and the demo is going to be slightly different. There are going to be some mechanics and stuff that are changed, and that demo saves will actually be rolling over into the full game whenever it releases, which at this point is looking like it'll probably be this year. And since I didn't want to do a Let's Play or a an impressions video on the demo with the old version of the demo when the new version is just about to come out, because I was actually going to do that this month until I learned that they're updating the demo. I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off on that. So with the Steam Next Fest, if that demo updates this fortnight, I will absolutely be playing that demo and then producing a video on it for March. So those are some of my gaming plans that I've got for this fortnight. But we're going to move into the bi-weekly cinema, which should be a little bit of a shorter section this fortnight, because at the time of recording this, it's actually Friday night that I'm recording this. I was originally planning to head over to the next town over so that I could do like a double feature type of thing and watch both Wuthering Heights and Goat today. Goat just because I thought it would be fun, and because I like basketball, and being able to watch a movie sort of along those lines just seemed like it would be interesting to me. And then Wuthering Heights out of morbid curiosity, and also so that I could make a video to tie both the main channel and second channel together, talking about the movie versus the book, even though I'm pretty sure it's more inspired by than based on, but it would still be an interesting conversation to have. But I've been really under the weather this week in particular. Last week I actually was doing really well. This week I've not been doing well, and I ultimately just did not go. And that was kind of a similar thing to not going to see Iron Lung in the theater last fortnight like I intended to and wanted to. So I'm wondering if maybe 2026 just won't be my year for watching new movies in the theaters. We shall see. But any plans that I do have for watching stuff now, because I missed Wuthering Heights and Goat, I was actually going to make videos on both of those films to come out tomorrow and the next Monday for Movie Magic. Now those are not happening. Something else is happening tomorrow instead, and I don't know what to do next Monday, and I was still wanting to do something Movie Magic related. So probably what I end up doing is just kind of out of nowhere. This was a decision that I made like 15 minutes ago. Well, at this point, based on the recording time, it was a decision I made more like a half hour ago, is I want to watch the adaptation of American Psycho and actually watch that all the way through. And, kind of along the lines of what I planned to do with Wuthering Heights, covering the book versus the movie, I plan to actually do that with American Psycho instead, and make that a Movie Magic episode next week. I think that will be a lot of fun. And since the movie is on Prime, it will be very easy for me to do so, as opposed to some of the other options that I was running through my head, which would require me to spend, money or actually subscribe to a service to watch something, and I'm not really feeling like subscribing to anything at the moment just for a random one-off video. It's more something that I need to like actually plan out schedule wise for what I'm gonna do. But that's something that I might watch this fortnight. There's also another show that I might watch this fortnight, but we'll update next one of these updates whenever if I actually get around to it. But I have referenced very many times throughout the last few sections some upcoming videos or some upcoming video ideas, and even some more recent content as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the upcoming releases, although that will be a little bit lying and cheating just a bit, because the first thing I wanted to shout out is that last Wednesday on the 11th, I actually came out with a video about the Little Nightmares speedrun. trophy, you know, getting the Hard to the Core trophy. That video wasn't on my original schedule when I did the last Fortnite on the Isle. I didn't have a Wednesday video planned out for that week. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I came up with the video and I posted that. So that happened. That is on the second channel now if you are interested in watching it. And I've also mentioned that today on the second channel in just a few hours I will be doing that live stream for Reanimal. So those are the first couple things to shout out. But as for the actual upcoming releases, you know, what's coming out video wise over the next couple of weeks, tomorrow on the 16th of the month will be a very special video to me. This will be a little bit different. This is actually, you know, doing something more with the third channel than I was planning, because at this point the third channel was just kind of a random idea. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, to what degree, let alone how regularly. But over the last fortnight I did end up writing a scene, a little short story scene, and decided that that one individual scene would just be the short story, and that was it. That kind of happened accidentally, basically. I wrote a little bit of dialogue. That was like a little bit of like internal monologue to a certain degree, and I decided to expand that dialogue a bit the next day and added a little bit of set dressing as if it was like forming a scene. I thought I would like develop this into like a full novelette or something like that. I wasn't sure, and wound up accidentally spending like a handful of hours one evening. Like I said, accidentally. I did not plan on doing this at all, and I just expanded that and wrote an entire 1,350 word scene. And really, it's hard to say I love that scene, because there's a lot of myself in there in some painful ways that are a little bit hard. That story was tough for me to write, but it was also something that I needed to write for many different varying reasons. Sorry, my English, all the words are getting jumbled up in my brain. But I did love the experience of actually writing that and finishing something. It's the first piece of fiction that I have written in over a year at this point. So that was also really nice. And when I got to the end of that story, I decided randomly that I kind of wanted to do like a reading of it, an audiobook, quote unquote, of sorts. So Every Breath of Burden is the title of the story. You'll see the thumbnail for tomorrow's video here. That will be coming out on the third channel. That channel is King Crusoe the Third, or the tag is at King Crusoe IRL. If you're watching this video, it is also one of the collaborators on this video as well, so you can check out the channel directly there for that. That'll be coming out tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to that one. That's one of my favorite videos that I've ever produced. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever produced in general, both the story as well as like reading it. You know, it's not a professional reading like an actual audiobook or anything like that. It's just me kind of reading that story, going through it, and with a little bit of melancholic music underneath everything. But that's one of my favorite things that I've ever produced. So I really hope that anybody interested will check that out. If you are subscribed to the main channel, you will still see that in your feed. You don't have to be subscribed to the third channel to see it. It'll be there because it'll be collaboration, because it is book related, so it is relevant to the main channel. It is something that I wrote. But yeah, that will be coming out tomorrow. Sorry to spend so much time on that, but that video is extra special, and I really hope people check that out. Otherwise, on Tuesday, the 17th, on the main channel, will be my next episode of the Book Binge, where I talk about 10 books that I cannot wait to reread. Relatively recently, I did a video about books that I loved that I will never reread. This video instead is the opposite of that. Books that I really adored and that I just cannot wait to reread, that I really want to reread at some point, honestly in the near-ish future, or sooner rather than later, basically, not waiting decades to do it, just because I loved those experiences so much. On Wednesday, the 18th, will be the next episode of The Game Grind on the second channel. That will be talking about that recent Sony State of Play video, you know, like I've mentioned a little bit earlier. That State of Play actually got me really hyped. There's a lot of stuff that were announced or got new trailers or whatever for that State of Play that got me personally really excited, that like got my gamer brain going in a way that hasn't for a while. Like, I've really struggled to be excited about gaming to a certain degree for a few months at this point, even as far as just general news and release announcements and stuff go, but that trailer got me going for some reason. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit and kind of discuss how it adjusts a little bit of my personal gaming plans this year. Because a few weeks back, or a month, I don't remember when it was. I want to say it was at the end of 2025, actually, like the very last video I might have posted that month, where I talked about some video games that I was excited to play in 2026. I believe that's when that came out. And that state of play actually changes that list up a little bit, because I had said that, like, it didn't really include 2026 releases because I didn't really know of much of anything, or what I did know about I wasn't really interested in, but that state of play had a few things that I'm like really looking forward to, actually, so I wanted to talk about it. Anyway, on Thursday the 19th will be the third Wheel of Time diary for The Gathering Storm, episode 64 of the entire series, just continuing to work my way through that book. Friday the 20th on the second channel will be the third episode of the Alan Wake Let's Play, and this Saturday the 21st will be my third live stream for Ghost of Yotei, playing through that game. Next week, I once again have 7 videos coming out, or similar, so, you know, something every day of every week this month, basically. On Sunday the 22nd, will be another episode of the Book Binge, but that will be going over my new office setup, basically. We'll be giving you a bookshelf tour, just showing off what my office looks like, where my books are situated on the shelves, all that kind of stuff. Plus, you know, inherently included with that video is a little bit of a mini January book haul type of thing going on, where I go over the books that I had acquired early in the year before I show you all of my shelves. So that'll be a fun video, just because I'm really proud of how my office turned out, and that gets to show you everything. Next Monday on the second channel, but again, this will be, you know, tied in with the main channel. I think it's very likely that I go ahead and do a review on the American Psycho movie, just to fill in that video slot for Monday, to get a little bit of a collaboration in there and fill the gaps of what I was originally going to do. That's something that I'm interested in doing, so there's a chance that that video doesn't come out. There's a chance that I just don't post anything that day, but right now it looks like that might be something that I go ahead and try to do. On Tuesday the 24th will be a manga review. That'll be for Girl from the Other Side by Nagabe. So that'll be the first time that I've covered manga on the main channel in a little while. It's not been, you know, horrifically long, but it has been a minute, so that is when I will be reviewing that. Actually, by that point, it'll have been nearly a month since I've or nearly a year since I've covered manga, so it will have definitely been a minute. Anyway, Wednesday the 25th will be another brief review video, and that will be covering Power Wash Simulator. Like I said, that'll be basically a review after 100%. That'll be reviewing the game, plus all of its DLC, whether, you know, basically my experience playing that game over the years that I had playing it, and reviewing it to that extent. Since Power Wash Simulator 2 is out, I wanted to finish the first one and all of its extra content before I switched over, so I did that, and I'm making a video about it because I can. On Thursday the 26th, pretty simple, is going to be the final diary for The Gathering Storm. That'll be episode 65 of the series, and basically preparing to jump into the next book, but finishing off that one. All 4 of the Wheel of Time diaries for The Gathering Storm ended up over an hour, so yikes. Definitely one of the most extensive books in the series as far as that actually covering what all happened in it, but I loved it. On Friday the 27th, again on the second channel, that'll be episode 4 of the Alan Wake Let's Play, and then on the 28th will be the 4th live stream for Ghost of Yotei. So that is everything that I have coming out over the next couple weeks. It's been a pretty busy month as far as video schedules go. Just in general, I've been trying to work through a lot of things that I've had going on in my life as of recent, and I know I've mentioned a lot of those things. I've kind of loosely talked about personal struggles that I've had this year, basically. My sense of time and place has been very messy since the start of the year. How busy I've been has been kind of on and off. What's actually been going on in the real life thing is a lot, and so most of what I've been doing this year has just been trying to work through all of that. You know, I'm trying to deal with things as they come, but to a certain degree, I've also been trying to distract myself and also just, you know, not fall too deep into some of the issues and actually get stuff done, actually work on stuff. This week in particular, you know, this past week was a very difficult one for many reasons, emotionally. So yeah, I've just been trying to work a lot, and I'm going to keep pushing through the rest of February, just doing all that stuff, hopefully until my next real life job starts. And, you know, I kind of mentioned earlier, one of the things that is the evidence that I've been working a lot, despite some of the issues, is that literally in February, I actually got looking at my calendar when I was filling some things out. I have a video release or a live stream every single day of February. And sure, February only has 28 days instead of 30 or 31, but March is going to be pretty similar. It's probably going to have a video or live stream almost every day for those 31 days as well. And January also, the last week of January had 6 videos. I don't remember what days those came out. Yeah, well, it was 5 videos actually. So I had one day on January 31st, but from February 1st all the way through until March. At this rate, it'll probably be almost all of March. I don't even know when the next gap in my schedule is going to be as far as when I'm going to have something coming out on one of the channels. It's a busy year, just having a lot of videos come out. My output's been really great, and I've been really happy with a lot of stuff that I've been producing. I've had months where I've produced in the 20 to 25 videos range before, but getting like any more than that in a month is like a lot. Posting a video a day is a lot, but that is something that I've been doing, and it's been interesting. It has definitely been an interesting experience, but you know, to a certain degree, I've enjoyed it. I'll probably be cutting back that output a little bit when my real life job does start, and hopefully I should be able to speak a little bit more about that pretty soon, like early in March probably. I don't think I'll be able to update about that in the next Fortnight on the Isle, but probably sometime in March I ought to be able to. Probably like the Book Binge episode 300 is a little special episode. I think I should be able to actually speak more about that. But for now, I ought to just get out of your hair and let this update end because it's been longer than it really has any right to be. I hope to see you guys at that live stream a little bit later today. And also, like I was talking about earlier, I really hope you consider, you know, listening to that story when it comes out tomorrow. I think, like I've already said, you know, just reiterating that point, I do think it is one of my favorite things that I've ever produced. It really does mean a lot to me personally, and was not something that I expected to make at all. That entire story, the narration of it, the video, like that entire project was not something that I planned. Like that was all an accident. I wrote the story, I expanded it, I revised it, became what I decided I wanted it to be right then, and then I the next day had the idea, what if I made this into a video, and then I just started making it into a video. So yeah, it's something that's really important to me. I hope you guys enjoy it, and you know, hopefully I see you guys there tomorrow. But for now, I've been your host, King Crusoe. You can call me KC, and I hope to see you guys in whatever you check out next.